Ashley Judd heartbroken over Harvey Weinstein ruling after New York court overturns disgraced producer's crime charges. Overturned by New York's highest court.
As you come on to the page, kindly hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell so when I upload the next video, you will be notified. Thank you.
On Thursday, April 25, the New York Court of Appeals declared in a 4-3 decision that a major mistake was made by the trial judge who presided over the disgraced Hollywood producer's 2020 case, made the jury's verdict made roughly 4 years ago invalid. After news broke, Ashley Judd, the first actress to come forward with accusations against Weinstein, 72, expressed her distraught reaction to the court's ruling. "That is unfair to survivors," the 56-year-old admitted to a news publication. "We still live in our truth. And we know what happened." As for what caused the case to be overturned, the judge allowed for prosecutors to call multiple women claiming to have been assaulted by Weinstein to the stand, even though their allegations were not part of the charges against him. Due to the mistake, identified by the appeals court as an error, it was determined that the movie producer did not have a fair trial. The judge in the majority side of the ruling explained the jury decided their verdict partly based on his past behavior, and not solely on the crimes he was charged with. It is now up to Manhattan District Attorney Alvin L. Bragg, who currently has his hands full with an ongoing trial against former President Donald Trump, to decide if there should be a retrial against Weinstein. At this moment, Weinstein still remains locked up in an upstate prison in Rome, NY, as he was sentenced to 16 years in prison in 2022 for raping a woman in a Beverly Hills hotel. Therefore, the retrial doesn't appear to mean he'll be even close to a free man for the foreseeable future. Weinstein's criminal history influenced the start of the #MeToo movement in 2020 after more than 100 women accused him of sexual misconduct, and he was only convicted of assaulting 2 of them. In response to the news, Weinstein's
lawyer,
Arthur Aidala, said in a statement to the news outlet that the court's decision was not just a victory for Mr. Weinstein, but for every criminal defendant in the state of New York, and we compliment the Court of Appeals for upholding the most basic principles that a criminal defendant should have in a trial. Regarding the imprisoned producer's reaction to his charges being overturned, the attorney revealed, "This happened 10 minutes ago. He doesn't even know yet." Jane Manning, the director of the Women's Equal Justice Project and a former crimes prosecutor, described the situation as a shocking and disheartening day for survivors of sexual assault. "This just shows how much more work we all have to do to bring the ideals of the #MeToo movement forward," she noted. The New York Times spoke to Judd after the ruling. Harvey Weinstein's New York conviction overturned by appeals court 4 years later. Harvey Weinstein's conviction for felony sex crimes in 2020 was overturned on Thursday, April 25. The New York Court of Appeals ruled to overturn the conviction in a 4-3 decision, according to the New York Times. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg will determine if the former producer, 72, is given a retrial following the decision. The appeals court ruled that Weinstein was not given a fair trial. The 4 judges in the majority ruled it a mistake for the judge overseeing Weinstein's New York trial to allow the prosecutor to call witnesses who had said that Weinstein had assaulted them. Their allegations were not being charged against the producer though, which led to the decision to overturn it. The other that was found was allowing prosecutors to question the producer about allegations that he was not charged with, if he decided to testify. Weinstein's lawyer Arthur Aidala told the New York Times that the ruling was not just a victory for Mr. Weinstein, but for every criminal defendant in the state of New York, and we compliment the Court of Appeals for upholding the most basic principles that a criminal defendant should have in a trial. Following the appeal, Douglas H. Wigder, who represented 8 of Weinstein's victims, including 2 who testified in the New York trial, released a statement. "Today's decision is a major step back in holding those accountable for acts of sexual violence. Courts routinely admit evidence of other uncharged acts where they assist juries in understanding issues concerning the intent, modus operandi or scheme of the defendant. The jury was instructed on the relevance of this testimony, and overturning the verdict is tragic in that it will require the victims to endure yet another trial," he said. It's unclear what the appeals verdict will mean for Weinstein going forward, but it does not seem likely that he will be released from prison. He's currently serving his sentence at a prison in Rome, NY, but he was also convicted of raping a woman in California and sentenced to 16 years in 2023. Weinstein was found guilty in his New York trial in February 2020. Following his conviction, he was sentenced to 23 years in prison, and he was required to register as a sex offender. 2 years later, Weinstein was found guilty on charges of rape, forcible oral copulation, and sexual penetration of an Italian model, known as Jane Doe No. 1. In that trial, he was also acquitted of one charge of felony sexual battery of a massage therapist, known as Jane Doe No. 3. Jurors were split on one count of sexual battery by restraint, one count of forcible oral copulation, and one count of rape brought against him by Lauren Young and by Jennifer Siebel Newsom. Those were ruled a mistrial.
As you leave the page, kindly hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you for watching.